Right, so we're going to start with the low-flighted chip and run. All the poor shots I saw you play there, I could pick 2, 3, 4 things in your dress position that really were the root cause of that bad shot. And we're saying we don't want that to happen. Okay, it's not easy to be world class in your swing, but it is easy to be world class in setup. Okay? So to get to that world class setup, this is the sort of things we're looking for this chip and run. How you stand to the ball is important. Some of you are standing very wide, I've noticed, with very straight feet. Okay, that's quite good if you want to create transfer and power. But really, we're looking for, nice way of remembering this, we're looking for 1 golf ball between your heels. We're looking for 1 club head between the middle of your feet, and then we're looking for 2 club heads there between your toes. All right, so we get a natural sort of slight flaring of the left foot, and what that does is it gives you a couple of things when you flare the foot. Firstly, it puts this hip into an externally rotated position, which is going to allow you to flow much better and rotate much better through the ball. Everyone in this group needs to get better at rotating through your ball. You're all a little bit underneath it this way, a bit long game, a bit this way. It's not the shoe, it's every golfer playing the ball today. Most people go this way, you see. So when you start to flare the foot, it allows you to move through the ball much freer. Can you see that, yeah? Also, when you flare the foot, it allows you to create what I call a pivot line that runs from the middle of the foot, through the knee, through the hip, through the shoulder, and toward your left ear. So once you create this line at address, you actually then have something in which you can then start to turn around and rotate around. A lot of you here, believe it or not, I would say 3/4 of you have got most of your weight on your right hand side, okay? And some of that is caused by trying to do the right thing and pushing your weight forward. But you can see what happens. Yeah. The more you push forward, you start to lower that right shoulder, and that's extremely common. And that's great if you're hitting the driver, isn't it? It's terrible if you're trying to play a short game shot because the low point goes too far back. So we're really looking to get that shoulder over the foot. Then your zip, your chest bone then is just in front of the ball. And that's going to help you get that slightly descending blow, which you want for a chip and run shot, and that lower sort of strike, the lower impact on the club, okay, rather than getting it releasing too much. So that's really key to get that left side there to begin with. Ball position, really just inside the right heel, but ball position is more in relative to where the chest bone is, okay. No good having the ball position in the right place and then leaning back here, is it? So we get in front there, okay. And in terms of shaft angle, just go a touch there. We don't want to lean extremely, you know, a big shaft lean there. It is a shot I play sometimes. If I want to sort of drill it up a slope, I can put lots of lean in there and I can spin it and hit that type of shot. But I'd much rather play less loft to that pin. But if I wanted to play that shot, I could do. That would be good from a very bare lie. That's a specialist shot, that low spinning shot. It is a shot that's online quite a lot at the moment, that isn't it, the low sort of flighted shot. It is a shot, 100%, but for me it's not a stock shot. It's a specialist shot I just showed there, right? So there is that shot. So I don't like to lean it that much because all my coaching is based on trying to get golfers at all levels being able to repeat strike. For me, that's what it's about. And being able to have the confidence over the ball that you don't need to be perfect. And I've been very lucky. I've taught lots of pros. I've been to all the majors and all these amazing players around me all the time. They're around me. And I promise you, they miss hit their chip shots all the time. Unbelievably, all the time they miss it. But you're watching on TV, they hit it to that. Okay, all they've got is this big margin for error because they've got this understanding of how they can hit behind the ball and the club. Like I did there, I totally duffed that, but it's still a nice contact. And you would never know, watched on TV, that was a bad shot. But they know, they're getting away with it. Okay, and you know, to really improve your short game, it's not about being perfect. It really isn't. It's about making sure you don't need to be perfect and still get a good result. Does that make sense? And that really, I'll tell you what, standing over a chip shot under pressure, because that's basically why we're trying to get the technique better so it works. Knowing you don't need to be perfect under pressure, I think is a better mindset than trying to feel like you've got to be perfect. You're all mind experts. Does that make sense? But mentally, yeah? Absolutely. Okay, try and just take the pressure off yourself, okay? It's not about being perfect. So yeah, not too much in the way of sharpening. Okay, remember you've got 12 degrees of bounce. If I lean that 20, that becomes -8, doesn't it? I don't think anyone would go to your local pro and say, can I have a -8 wedge? You got any of those -8 wedges installed? No one does that. Okay, so you have to make sure you don't lean it too much. Also as well, you're going to learn different wrist angles today. So when you want to hit the ball lower, you want to get your wrists higher. And when you want to hit the ball higher, you get your wrists lower. You see how it changes my wrist angle? So when I get my wrist angle flat here from the top of the forearm to the top of the thumb, absolutely dead flat, what that does is it discourages wrist action. Okay, I don't mind a little bit of wrist action in the chip shot, But really, this wants to be as flat as you can make it. If you're an extremely wristy player, I wouldn't even mind if you went for it a little bit this way, okay? So you can almost weaken the grip. So weaken the grip goes this way, and that helps arch that wrist a little bit more, which is good for a chip and run shot. Again, when I was watching you at the beginning, I was seeing you sort of mixing some of these ingredients up. Like you're trying to play a low shot and you're setting up for a high shot. You're trying to play and the opposite, okay? So you're just changing these wrist angles. So we really want to get that nice and flat. As a result of that, that should then bring you in a little bit closer. And you really want to feel like your triceps are on your rib cage. Very important. Connection is very important when you're chipping. If you're standing too far away, see this? I like this to be airlocked on. I really feel like my arms are always on me here all the time. And that allows you then to rotate with a lot more connection. And the final thing to get your world class over the ball, and it's something I think a lot of golfers just have no awareness of whatsoever, is actually just trying to relax a little bit, okay? Because I mean, you'll see it all the time. I saw some of you there actually when you were doing it. You looked a bit like this over the ball. What have you noticed in my arms? Tight and dead straight. Now, if you ask me to chip like this, I'm hitting thin shots all day long, okay? You have to be able to soften up. So if you let your arms hang totally naturally, we have a fold in the elbows. That is how we need our hands to sit on the golf club. Okay. You think of Sevi. When Sevi was chipping, he was always like this, wasn't he? Not like this.
It's almost soft elbows, isn't it?
Soft elbows from your elbows all the way down to your fingertips. It's no good just trying to get a light grip pressure, which a lot of people say. It really does come from here. Just let them hang. Okay, and then they're on there. And if you can get all that, and it's not difficult, you're going to be world class over the ball. Then if you hit a bad shot, you know it's not your setup. And how big is that just mentally? Okay. So it makes it difficult to hit a bad shot if your setup as well like that. Not impossible, you can still hit bad shots, okay, but it makes it difficult. A couple of things in the swing just to be aware of, some of the things I saw there amongst you. The swing plane in which you go back is important. This would be above the plane, this would be below the plane, and this would be on plane, where the shaft is an extension of the arm there, and the club face more or less pointing around about 1 point in front of the ball. There, okay, that's perfectly on plane. The most common fault in chipping, without doubt, is the club getting under plane. I'm sure you've all seen this a bit, okay, with people, okay? And what do you think if I'm going for this pin here, if I go under plane, what have I got to do to get the club to the ball from here?
Come over.
Yeah, exactly. So you can train your hands to be quite good and sort of manage half the result still and kid yourself that you're a good chipper, but really you're not far away from that thin one all the time, okay? So getting the club on plane is so important to be able to rotate through the ball, because if you're under here, you've always got to flip it, you'll never rotate back through the shot. So getting on plane, very, very important, so you can then turn back onto it. So just feel like there's a little bit of hip turn, push the shoulder, and we're in position there. And then really from there, all you're trying to do is use the chest to move back over the ball here. And I want to make sure your follow through, you've got the club head, your hands in the chest all connected. Very, very important you do that through the ball. I was watching it, there's a bit of disconnect going on with a lot of you where you're looking a bit like this. So it's not, that might not look too bad to you, but I think that's slightly disconnected. You see? Okay, and I want you more to be like this. Everything here is connected. See that? Club, hands, chest. Very, very important this. And holding your finish is extremely important. I notice some of you look a bit like this when you hit a shot at the moment. I'm not going to exaggerate this too much, but some of you look a bit like this. Okay, does that look good? Do you recognise that with golfers you play with sometimes? Now, why that doesn't look good is for two reasons. Firstly, I want you to become your own coaches. To get better at this game of golf, you have to be able to coach yourself. Very, very important. So if we're working on a chip and release one, okay, and I hit a shot like that, my club is pointing over here like it hasn't really, it's dug in and it's kind of finished over here. What release would that be?
0?
Yeah, so it hasn't released. So if I get a bit of a poor shot and I can look at my follow through, I'll exaggerate a bit more so you can see. So if I do that and it comes off really hot and really strong, and I hold my finish, okay, well that's not quite right. Where should it be? Oh, it should be there. There we go, it should be there. You start to coach yourself. Likewise, if I'm trying to hit a low shot to this pin, and I do this, and I do that, and it goes a bit high, and I think, oh, where's that? Okay, it's on the right. Where should it be? Oh, it should be there. You see, and that's how you can coach yourself, because I think the awareness to get better is so important. Generally, and just for your own coaching, I think golfers are very poor at awareness and reflection. To get better at this game, you have to be able to reflect on every shot, good or bad. What did I do well? What can I do better next time? Most golfers are so wrapped up in the ball, they forget about what they're doing and what they can learn. Right? So you hit the shot and you learn. So you hit the shot, and you hold it, and you're checking, and you learn. It's good. Okay, that was the right release. That's fine. Okay, you move on, and you're doing it with real clarity. And the second reason you've got to hold your finish, you've got to look professional at this game. You've got to look good. I mean, it's important. You've got to look good. Particularly after today, when people know you've seen me, you're my adverts, and I don't want people to say, "Well, he's going to see Dan and he's doing this sort of thing." That's not. We don't want that. Okay, so you've got to hold your finish. You've got to look good. And the important thing as well is our swing ends here. It doesn't end here. All right. Yeah. And if we get all about the ball, we forget about getting it. And that's why I coach so much the follow through. If you get the follow through right, impact is normally correct. You have to feel like you collect the ball through impact, and your job is to get to here. I think mentally as well, I think that's really key.
So you're almost starting with the end in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think sport in general, particularly golf, but I think all sport, the instinctive part of it is huge. And if you don't understand where you need to finish, if you understand where you need to finish, I think you'll understand how I need to get there. Like if I'm trying to hit a high shot, I'm not going to do it like that. I'll start to automatically understand, well, if I'm going to finish here, I'm going to lay it down this way. So I think the instinct side of it is huge. And understanding the lie is key. We'll get more into the lie. This sort of release one, you can play from virtually any lie. The only thing you need to do is if it's in the rough or in a bit of a hole or something, you might want to add a bit of hinge, but the release is always the same. So you can steepen your angle of attack if you need to. The angle of attack on this shot is about 4 or 5 degrees down. Low point's about 2 or 3 inches after the ball. You can exaggerate that if you need to. If you want to hit that shot I hit there, that real low spinning one, you can get a little steeper and turn the loft down, and you can jam it in a little bit more and spin it if you need to. But I think, going over what I've said, trying to create the ability to repeat, that shot where you're trying to jam it in with a lot of shaft lean and lift and do that, I think is hard to repeat. If you want to just get better at this game, we're looking for the simplest action, I think. Okay, that's how we should be doing it. And in terms of just understanding different, do you all use different clubs around the green, or do you stick to one?
Yeah, different clubs.
Anyone stick to one? No? Good. Brilliant. We usually get a few there's 60 everywhere or something like that, which just drives me mad. So, I'm a big fan of just letting the technique, the setup stay the same, the swing length stay the same, the speed of the swing stays the same, and your something called the smash factor, which is how the ball jumps off the face, changes by the loft change. And I've measured all this. You can pretty much have the same club head speed, and you change the loft, and the smash changes just greatly. So setup's exactly the same. You see the swing's the same. You see how if you're going out towards the back of the green there, all I've really changed there is the loft, and it just runs out. Okay, so you just change the loft and off it goes. That's a big skill, and understanding how you change the spin through, whether it's uphill or downhill, just by changing the loft. Good. Any more questions on that shot at all? Before you, I'm eager to have a go, but before you did any other points or
just on the plane when you said you went back and you said it should point at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, more or less. So club. So you've got to understand the club face as well. So I like to do this. If you put a ball in front of the ball you're playing, if you roll it on the plane, generally the face opens and the face looks over here somewhere. Some players do this. They tip and shut the face that way, which isn't great either. That's not a very friendly way of chipping. So the club face is pointing at the ball. You want to feel like it's pointing at this ball here. And that means you haven't over-rotated your forearm, and the club shaft is going to be in line with your arm there. And a really simple drill, this is the best drill for plane coaching, is to make sure if you go left hand only and you push it away, now I could hold that club like that, I could hold that for 10 minutes, not a problem, quite relaxed. But as soon as I do that, I'm struggling to hold that for 10 seconds because my wrist is killing, so I've got to move it back on plane. And look at the difference, it's 6 inches from there to there. You see how the weight, so gravity is pulling down against my wrist, but now it's there, it's fine. And the thing is, when you start feeling that, you react. But when you're on plane there, you can just open through the ball. So that's the best exercise, trying to get people back on plane, just getting that left arm.